MikePersuasive?
I know, I just
Yes.
realized
That's
that
my
it's
persuasive
different.
speech. Let me know you're ready.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Name of my speech is called Assisted Death, or Assisted Suicide for you don't know that. There's a saying, there are only two things in life that are unavoidable, death and taxes. Well, let me tell you, taxes are the less unpleasant of the two. Death, on the other hand, can become the longest and most painful experience of life. Death is unavoidable, inexorable, and almost always painful. Painful not just for the person dying, but the family, but for the family, friends, and loved ones that surround that person. In the end, only one true release comes, and that is death. Many people, when faced with a long, drawn-out dying experience, would gladly choose to end things quickly, quietly, and painlessly. In the state of Oregon, there is a law called the Death with Dignity Act, enacted in 2008, and that allows medical research to be done at the end of life termination for a lot of patients that request it. This has become the most studied end of life decision law in the nation. In fact, it's one of the very few. And that is according to the New Atlantis, which is a journal of Technology, Society, and Medical Ingenuity. The ODDA, as it's called, has reported on 341 assisted deaths to date. And it is fair to say that before the law was enacted, there were many more than that, just not reported on. The point of the matter is, though, that now that it is being studied and researched, we can definitively say whether or not it is the ultimate benefit or detriment of the patient and their loved ones. According to the ODDA research results, as stated by one of the medical researchers assigned to the statistics of the study, we know who makes requests, what they are dying of, how old they are, this is hard for me, sorry, what sex they are, what they fear most about death, and we know how they describe their reasons for pursuing death with dignity. We know whether hospice care actually works. We know whether they are more comfortable in their hospice care, at home, with loved ones around them, or dying in a hospital. End-of-life assistance, or the concept of it, has hit me directly in the last 3 weeks. In the fact that it is not allowed in the state of California. My grandfather has been fighting pancreatic cancer for the last 2 years. He was a robust, barrel-chested man of a healthy and young 67 years. He was a veteran of Vietnam, a train yard mechanic in the stockyards of Ontario, and ultimately a longtime union man of the Railroad Workers United. He was a fighter, but in the end, all his stubbornness and perseverance did nothing to save him. He wasted away, just like all the others in the past who have succumbed to cancer of the pancreas. You see, it doesn't matter how much money you have, or what your net worth is, or how famous you are. Case in point, Steve Jobs and Patrick Swayze, most recently. What matters in the end is that you are truly going to die. My grandpa died. He went from being 200 pounds, strong as an ox, to weighing just 80 pounds at the time of his death. He was on so many narcotic painkillers, the drugs alone could have supplied a small army of drug dealers on the streets for months. And all for what? To prolong his life, or in my own opinion, to prolong his suffering. As I stated before, there is no assisted suicide or assisted death law in California. So even when my grandfather lay dying on his bed, and his body was wasting away around him, and his systems were shutting down one by one, my family could do nothing but watch, wait, and hope that the end came quickly. Sounds morbid, doesn't it? Sitting around waiting for someone you love to die. But what else can you do? There is no cure, there is no relief, and there is no hope. In this matter, this situation, we are helpless. Richard Griffith, a writer who wrote, "Should assisted dying be lawful?" in the British Journal of Community Nursing, asks the question, is it not more merciful to allow someone to choose the time of their own demise, to choose the circumstance of their own end, and then in that allow them to die with their dignity intact, than to let them waste away into nothingness? My call to action is simple. The state of Wisconsin has only this to say about assisted death. Whoever with intent that another take his or her own life assists such person to commit suicide is guilty of a Class H felony. In other words, you'll go to jail. That is from the Wisconsin statutes laws. Sorry, I thought I wrote the section down. This is one of the very few actual places that you can go to petition the laws to be changed. There's an advocacy care unit, the Patients with Rights Council. You can go to their site. It's right here, patientsofcouncil.org. And also you can petition the local government through madison.il.us. There's the rest of it right there. They don't intend to change these laws anytime soon, which is why I don't have a lot more information than I can have people do anything about. But if you have someone who is in your family who is going to go through this or is going through this, just be there for them. It's the best thing you can do.